Welcome to another episode of Veterans of the Cedar Valley. My name is Tom Haggerty. I'll be your host for this show. We've been trying to present different subjects from veterans of different conflicts over the past couple years. Between Sid Morris as a host and myself, we've had veterans from World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, have come and shared their experiences with us on the show, and we hope that you've enjoyed those subjects. Today, we're going to talk about something that's very dear to me. I'm a member of the AMVETS Honor Guard, and also today in the studio are two other members of the AMVETS Honor Guard who are live buglers. And if you have ever witnessed military rites at a funeral for a veteran, there's hopefully a live bugler who will be playing taps. And in the studio today, my guests are J.D. Waybill, and J.D. will tell us a little bit about herself in a minute, and Al Keppel. And they have been playing the bugle for AMVETS funerals for a number of years, and we appreciate the dedication that you guys have given to the veterans at their funeral. J.D., just tell me right off the bat, we'll clear that up, that J.D. is your real name or just a nickname?
JD is what I go by because my real name is actually Jean Darrell, which is a mouthful, so I just go by JD, and it's what everybody's always called me.
And give us a little bio of where you're from and what you're doing now.
I'm from Central City, Iowa, which is a small town just north of Cedar Rapids, and I am currently going to school at UNI for Leisure Youth and Human Services with an emphasis in nonprofit management. And with that, after I graduate, I hope to work with 4-H in a county in Iowa.
And you went to UNI for those subjects, of course, to get those degrees, but you're also very talented with the marching band.
Yes, I have been a part of the marching band for the past 2 years, and this past winter we just went to Rome to march in their New Year's Day parade.
And you're the only one that plays the trumpet in a marching band, right?
Absolutely not.
Okay, all right. And Al, tell us a little bit about yourself, your bio also, and how you've become a trumpeter or bugler for the AMVETS also.
Well, I'm again from Cedar Falls. I work at Viking Pump for 39 years as a utility inspector, and my wife and I own the Waffle Stop Grill and the Maid Right downtown. And I've been playing that thing since 5th grade, so that would be about 1966, somewhere around there. And at Sacred Heart in Waterloo, Sister Lenore Gardner, and went to Columbus, and Tim Chamberlain and Jay Hoover really kind of inspired me to keep playing.
But Sister Lenora taught you how to play the
Sister
trumpet?
Lenore taught me how to play.
Okay. And I think we have some pictures that we'll put on the screen during this program. And I think one of them, JD, I'm not sure how old you were in that picture if they show it, but it looks like you got your start in playing the trumpet in grade school also?
Yep, I started in 5th grade as well, and then I started playing taps probably in 8th grade. But yeah, I definitely played when I was younger, and there's definitely some interesting photos of it.
And has all of your time and contributions on the trumpet been from in Central City and then on up to UNI and then over to the AMVETS here in Cedar Falls?
Yep, and also while I was in high school and middle school, I played with the Central City Legion Post in Central City, and I played taps for them while I was in high school.
Al, when you play the trumpet, it's not a bugle. I'll call it a bugle because that's what it is to me. How many times do you think in your career playing a trumpet for a veteran have you done?
I would guess over 100 times.
Really?
So I have a lot of extended family I've done over the years, especially in the last 20, because most of them were World War II vets, and so there's none of them left.
And when you play taps at those funerals, what are you thinking about? Are you just thinking about surviving the plane, or?
I just want to play it to the best I can. I don't watch the family ever. I just try to look up ahead above everybody and just concentrate on what I'm doing.
And JD, same question. Let's go back to Central City and start from there and come forward. How many veterans funerals would you say you've done?
Altogether, I've probably played about over 100 of them, and I've been playing since 8th grade, so I've had quite a few years to accumulate them.
Did you get out of school when you were asked to play at a veteran's funeral?
Yep,
Did you?
all of my teachers, I took college courses while I was at school, and all of my teachers were like, yeah, go ahead, just we'll catch you up when you get back. None of my teachers ever asked like me to stay or anything.
Well, Al, another background with you. I know that you're a member of the Cedar Falls Municipal Band. How long have you been in that band?
I think about 25 years this summer.
And then also a branch of that, I'll call it, is the Washington Street Brass.
Yeah, we're a brass quintet. We've been together since Christmas Eve of 1994 when Monsignor Stimo, who was then the pastor at St. Pat's, asked me to get a brass quintet together for Christmas midnight mass. And 4 of us are the original 5. And we had to pick up a trombone player after that, as our trombone player we had there was going to move on to the Minneapolis Symphony and go to college up there.
Well, I always enjoyed going to what we called midnight mass back then, when it was actually at midnight at church and you guys would play. And now it's 10 o'clock midnight mass when you play. So, but y'all do a very good job at that, and thank you for doing that. Let's go back to the funerals. JD, as a junior now at UNI, you've been playing with AMVET's funerals for about 2 years. How did that come to pass that you got to participate with the AMVET's Honor Guard?
After I graduated high school, I knew I wanted to continue playing taps, so I talked to my people back home, and I'm like, who do I contact? And I did some Googling, and I eventually got a hold of the phone number for the AMVET's post. And I gave it a call, and I'm like, hey, I am willing to offer up my services if you want me. And eventually I got the call like, hey, you want to come play a funeral this weekend? I'm like, yep, I'll be there.
And boy, we aren't letting you go. And the same with Al. Al, you're a member of the Sons of AMVET's, which is a group down at the AMVET's post. And the Honor Guard is normally made up of honor or AMVET members, veterans. And like any other group, they're getting older and they're not participating during the winter, which is pretty tough on some of us. And I think, Al, did you just reach out to the AMVETs, or did the AMVETs reach out to you? Or
It's a little of both. I had done a couple funerals that with the Honor Guard family had asked me to play. And then Garth Stitch asked me to do echo taps with him at a Memorial Day. With the municipal band used to play on Memorial Day here. And Garth kind of encouraged me to join the Honor Guard.
Well, I know both of you probably, when you're playing taps, you're not noticing this, but it's a very emotional time for the family, especially when you start playing and you're halfway through and the family's becoming upset. It's not they're not mad at you or anything. They're remembering that veteran that you're playing the taps for, and it's a very distinguished honor, I think, for both of you to be there, and again, we appreciate that. One of the things I wanted to tell our audience was about you two play a live trumpet. I mean, I'll call it a bugle and all that stuff, but it's a trumpet. What I have here on the desk in front of me is a bugle. There's no buttons up here, whatever you call those things. And whenever we can't get you guys to come to the funeral to play, we have this backup funeral. I think if you can see right in here, there's a microphone in here, and it has a tape of the Taps song. And I'm just going to punch it here, and we'll play a little bit, and then we'll turn it off. But in case people ever wondered, That's enough. What is amazing is that when you guys can't come to play, and either I or somebody else get to play this bugle, what do you call it when the note is
Vibrato.
Vibrato? I called it vibrato.
Yeah.
But I have been practicing shaking so that I've had people come up to me, you know, and actually tell me what a beautiful rendition of taps that is. I mean, you guys play it beautifully, you know, but this thing, but it's managing the breaths and all that. And anyway, but I thought I'd divulge that secret to people while this show was being held. JD, you're up at UNI and you're majoring in what is your major, first major?
Leisure, Youth, and Human Services.
And what will you do with that? Will you?
After I graduate, I want to work with 4-H and be a county youth coordinator for an extension office. So basically be in charge of the 4-H for that county, hopefully to stay in Iowa.
So, and you've been up here 3 years because I think you're 2 years. Okay, but you're considered a junior. I'm just trying to estimate how long the AMVETs still have your ability, because when you leave, Al's the only one that we have, but I understand we're going to have a couple more. And I think at this time what we'd like to do is we taped each one of you playing prior to the show, and what we're going to do right now is we're going to show JD playing taps for you. So just listen for a minute and come back. That was an excellent rendition of taps that J.D. Waybill, who is from Central City, played for us just before we started this show. And in the other half, we'll have Al get his turn also. Those notes, I think I asked you both, are there 12 notes to that song, or you don't even count?
Never counted them.
I've never counted them.
No, it's
Al, I was at a funeral where you were playing one time, and it was just freezing cold out. And we do this. We're not just fair weather military honor guard. We go when we're called, and if a person wants a funeral in the middle of the winter in a blizzard, we're there if we can make it. You were playing one time, and I don't want to embarrass you, but when that note doesn't come out right, what do you do? Just go on?
You just got to go on. The particular one I think you're thinking about was wind chill about 20 below, and my second valve froze down when I brought my horn up to play, and I didn't realize it until I went to play and I saw it, so I had to push the first valve down to get into a decent key to play the taps, and by then I'd kind of lost my embouchure and it didn't come out very well, but I did the best I could do.
But the rule is between the two of you, if you're playing, just keep going, right?
Yes.
Because I played the violin, so I don't know anything about playing the trumpet. The buttons that you use, JD, when you're playing the bugle, you don't use those buttons, do you?
No.
You've turned your trumpet into a bugle per se.
Yep.
And have you ever had an experience where you've choked on a note, and what do you do? Just keep going like Al mentioned, or?
Unfortunately, yeah, it happens to the best of us. We just slip up on a note, or it doesn't come out the way you want it to, but there's no going back. It happened, you have to keep going, you have to finish the song.
Yep. Well, what I'd like to talk about now is the actual military rites that we do, and then the process of when the bugle is played. Every veteran who dies is allowed military honors, full military honors, and there are abbreviated different versions. There's just flag folding with taps maybe, or just flag folding. But full military honors consist of a rifle salute, usually 7 rifles and 3 rounds, and people call that a 21-gun salute. And then there's the folding of the flag. If the flag is on the casket of the veteran, then the flag is taken off and it's held up for everybody to see. The rifles are fired at that time, and still holding the flag up is when you play taps. And it's at that time, I think, that the family starts getting emotional, and we're trying our best to, you know, keep ourselves emotionally not involved in it, you know, but sometimes it gets to you because I know I recently had the opportunity to present the flag at a relative's funeral, and I couldn't get past the first 3 words on the flag presentation on behalf of the President of the United States. I never got past on behalf of, and I was all choked up, and I ended up sending an email to the relative later on. I said, this is what I was supposed to say, you know, but when it comes to playing taps, you can't go back and start over, because then people will notice that, you know. So JD, outside of the military rights that we talked about, have you ever had a chance to play taps at some other event?
Yep, all throughout high school, I played echo taps up until probably my junior year of high school, I think it was, for both Memorial Day and Veterans Day. Memorial Day I was outside, and then Veterans Day I was in a gym. And I've played that all my years through high school. And then I still play at my hometown if like the parade gets rained out or something. It's still going to happen, but the students won't necessarily want to play, and if I'm home, I'll play for them.
And Al, same question outside of military funerals. Have you played like at a school flag program or anything like JD described?
I've done several different things with the Honor Guard. We went to the Screaming Eagle for Veterans Appreciation Night. John Deere has had us over there for a flag presentation, also out at Camper Place out south of town, and different venues like that. The Silver Eagle had a real nice celebration for veterans that we all did, and the whole Honor Guard was there. So the community is pretty supportive of all of us.
Great. And one thing I wanted to mention is that veterans don't have to become or belong to the AMVETS post in Cedar Falls or the AMVETS post anywhere. As a veteran, you have a right to military rights, and Congress has a law that if there is an active honor guard like the Cedar Falls AMVETS Honor Guard, and somebody requests that we do military rights, we have to do that. And we do that at no charge. We're not expecting any type of a stipend. You guys aren't expecting any stipend to play taps, and then that's respectful and it's appreciated. But every once in a while, we have somebody that will send a note along with a stipend, and then that goes back into the Honor Guard. And that one of the things I wanted to touch on, and I mentioned it earlier, both of you are members of either the Sons of AMVETS or the UNI Marching Band, and you're not a member of the AMVETS. We had an Honor Guard meeting about a year ago, and all the guys in the Honor Guard voted that we needed to start letting the other groups come in. And I think, Al, you were already in, and we used him as an example, and then JD, we goes, well, we want to keep JD around. So do you have other friends that play taps from either back in school or JD?
Yeah, my mentor growing up through playing the trumpet, he actually is the one that taught me how to play, and he's now in the real world, and he doesn't get to play as often, but he does play when he can.
And then do you encourage anybody that you know of back, when you go back home, do you go visit the band or the?
Oh yeah.
You were in the marching band back in Central City, I think, because I remember the first funeral that you did for us. We kept telling you it was at 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock rolled around. Your mom and dad were waiting because you had to scamper and get back down to Davenport or something for
Yep.
a marching band tournament. And you were no sooner leaving, and then here come the funeral procession. You come running back, and I'm sure your folks probably said, "What kind of a group is this that my daughter has joined?" You know. But Al, same with you. Have you encouraged anybody back in like high school or anything like
Back
that?
when I was in high school, yes, there's several of us that used to do funerals.
Do you mentor anybody in
No,
playing?
I haven't mentored anybody.
And JD won't know this, but maybe you do. We had a bugler before named Garth Stitch, and he did all of the, if he could make it, he did all of the funerals for veterans in the Cedar Valley. That was Waterloo, Evansdale, Cedar Falls, wherever they needed him. And he's now up in Michigan on retirement. And but he was quite the man, and he was so dedicated. And I think you guys emulate his dedication in that. And again, we appreciate what you're doing. One of the things that I wanted to ask you both is, did you come out of high school band? JD did, and Al, you came out of high school band, but you were at Columbus?
Yes, I was at Columbus.
And you were at Central City. Who was the person, Al, that got you involved in doing veterans funerals?
My best guess was Jay Hoover, who was the band director there since my sophomore year. Those 3 years, because they would contact the school and want to know if somebody could play for a funeral, and he'd be the one that'd get a hold of me in school.
Okay, and then JD, same question.
Mine was probably Lynn Miller. He was the one that called the school and said, "Hey, can you come play for us?" And I would come and play, and then he eventually got my number and started just calling me versus calling the school.
Well, what we're going to do now is, in fairness, we had JD play in the first half. We're going to just pause here, and we're going to hear Al play the trumpet, the bugle trumpet, which we taped just before the show. So just watch this, and please come back. Well, thank you both for coming in early before the show and taping that. And I know that we've shown some pictures that you sent to us throughout the show, and people will enjoy those. And I wanted to again emphasize about my talents with this bugle that if you don't see Al or JD at a funeral playing and you see me, this is a bugle with a tape recorder in it, and it plays taps, and it has a couple other songs, but we don't play those unless we're really desperate without Al and those. But it's a beautiful thing that you guys do, and in all seriousness. And people have come up to us after military rites, and they go, you know, they're either crying or they're visibly emotional, and they're saying that was just beautiful rendition, and it's a compliment to both of you. And even when I'm playing the fake bugle, you know, they really appreciate what we've done. And again, any veteran who dies and wants to have military rites, including the playing of taps, all they need to do is work with the funeral home director and tell them that they want military rights, and we'll be there if they're all possible. and some towns have military honor guards, so we don't cross towns very much. But again, I'd like to thank you guys for your talent and your contribution to military veterans funerals, and for also being here on the show today. And I'd like to thank our viewers for having tuned into this show. And if you have a subject that you'd like us to cover about veterans issues, please let us know, and please tune in again at our next session. Thank you very much for being here.